Some people have called it a mess. Some people have called it massively disrespectful, an absolute sham. Most people have called it a circus. Well, one thing's for certain with Manchester United's managerial merry-go-round, whether it is a circus or not, the final act is coming up. It's coming up this week. We called it out at the end of last week. A decision needs to be made with everything that's coming up around the world of football regarding transfer windows, fixture lists, Euros and everything like that. Well, Ten Hag has landed back in Manchester. He wants answers. Thomas Tuchel has just dropped the biggest bomb out of the whole saga so far. He is out. Details on that. So where does that leave us now with Zerbi, with Poch? Dare I say it, Southgate, everything is coming to light. All of the reports, all of the leaks that have come out regarding the manager situation at United, who we've been talking to, what's actually been said in them conversations, who these managers have been talking to out of Ineos. No one expected this amount of detail to come out. I'm going through all of it. I'm going to go into detail. We're going to go through step by step what has happened over the last week and especially over the last 2 days, because that's where it's took a twist for me. And things are looking, in my opinion, and you guys can disagree, get your comments in the live section now, that Ten Hag looks more favourite to stay rather than go right now. And I see some other big accounts actually going on saying that this looks quite clear that Ten Hag is going now. You make your own mind up. Get in the live chat, give the video a like, get subscribing to Forever United TV. We're having a full-on Ten Hag managerial situation debate right now because the news is out. Everything is going on. Some people have even tweeted out, like, what the hell is going on with United at the moment? Let's get into what's happened step by step today. There's loads of accounts to actually get through and loads of different stories regarding Manchester United and, well, basically what has actually happened today. I mean, first of all, I'm going to get into everything that's gone down. First of all, we heard from I forgot his name now. Christian Folks, that was the one, yes. It started with that today, more than anything. Christian Folks coming out, detailing exact questions, exact responses, and full-on interaction between Sir Jim Ratcliffe, apparently, and Thomas Tuchel. Only a few days ago, this happened. So Thomas Tuchel apparently met with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And from this, it has come about that Thomas Tuchel has now decided to give up on being Manchester United manager. You can see at the bottom of your screen there the tweet that I've put out from the Times, which pretty much explains Tuchel's stance on it. A lot of people are saying that was him being rejected by Manchester United. That was him. Some people saying that was just him saying that, look, he doesn't feel like United actually want him enough and he's going to take a break from football. But Christian Folks said he was asked questions regarding his plans for Manchester United, details about what he's done before regarding Rudiger from Real Madrid and how he's turned his career around and how Manchester United should realistically be looking at a player like that. And everyone's thinking like, okay, God, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's having talks with Tuchel. This is serious. Ten Hag is done for. That's how I would look at it at that point. And I, like many other people, I put a simple tweet out that said, does this look ominous now with United talking to Tuchel? Then bang, in comes the man himself, Fabrizio Romano, and stating that in his exact words, which was the biggest one of the day, Thomas Tuchel not planning to take Manchester United job. He wants to take a break, not coaching any club this summer. Tuchel currently decided not to continue in talks with United after meeting in recent weeks. United decided on Erik Ten Hag's future soon. That was the line that came out from there. Now, the tweet, the interesting one that came out from the Times Sport at the bottom of your screen there, I'll just read through it again. He's understood that Tuchel left the meeting with the sense that he was not going to be Manchester United's choice should they dismiss Ten Hag, and has now elected to take a break from management. So when we deal with facts and we look past the rumours and everything else, we get down to what has actually been said. I think we can safely say now, guys, and get your comments and all of this in the chat as well, that Thomas Tuchel is officially out of the running to be Manchester United manager. And then we move on from that point there going, why has this happened? Who is left? What do we do now? Where are your honest opinions at in terms of Ten Hag and where this leaves him now? Because he's arrived back today from his holiday. So straight away, you know that Ten Hag is going to be in to Carrington tomorrow. The cameras are going to be out. The pictures of him arriving in his car. Who follows him? Who from Ineos might actually be in? at Carrington this week to drop the news. Are we actually going to get an official announcement? I think Ineos do have to make an announcement this week regarding the review. And with the review will come the fact that either Ten Hag is staying or he's going. It's not going to be built up to be the Ten Hag decision. I think it'll come to a release from the or verdict on the actual review of Manchester United's 23-24 season. I think that's where we're going to be with it. But yeah, this was an absolute bombshell from what looked like the favourite, Sir Alex Ferguson's big Tuchel up. I thought Tuchel was the man. That was the man I would have chose if we were replacing Ten Hag. That has now gone. So right now, I'm like many other people. I'm not just going to accept anyone in at Manchester United. I don't want to get rid of Ten Hag for the sake of getting rid of him. I wanted to get rid of Ten Hag if there was better out there. I personally thought that Ten Hag was the right man. I thought he was better and is a better manager than Ten Hag. That's just my opinion. And you all know that. I've not gone away from that. I've not tried to change that up at all. I've always stuck to my guns on that. But that's been taken out of the equation now. So managers are slowly dropping away and going elsewhere. So what does that leave us? Let's not forget, out of all of this, Erik Ten Hag is still Manchester United manager. So as it stands, that's our guy. We are waiting for the news this week, which will come regarding his new contract, whether they are sticking to him for another year. I cannot really see that. I've talked about why. I don't think that will happen, but honestly, it'll be that or he's out the door and someone else is coming in. But that opens up the next line of questioning, guys, to who the hell else is there out there for Manchester United to go for? Now, the names are coming up in the chat. I can see them already. But we just need to remember that, look, the way it's worked out here and how things change very, very quickly in football and decisions and the manager situation, especially at Manchester United, because it's like with Fabrizio Romano, in the space of 10 days, Thomas Tuchel remains keen on getting back to work already this summer in the case of good opportunity. If Manchester United decide to fire Ten Hag, still waiting for an internal review in brackets, Tuchel would be one of the names in the shortlist. He is very keen on return to the Prem. I spoke yesterday regarding Thomas Tuchel wanting Manchester United or Chelsea or its sabbatical. Chelsea have obviously got their new manager in. Manchester United have talked with Tuchel, and out of these talks, we've got that statement there from the Times and from what Fabrizio Romano has been saying, that he doesn't feel like United want him enough and he won't be considered for the job when they make the announcement, if they make the announcement that Ten Hag is no longer going to be in the hot seat at Old Trafford. And that means that Tuchel is now on sabbatical. He will not be managing any football club this year. He's taking a full-on timeout. Now, what does that? Does that mean anything else for Manchester United? If Ten Hag gets another year, is Tuchel there waiting in the wings to come in a year's time? Have United said anything like that? We're never going to know what the talks were. Interesting that we got any information out of an interview that was had between Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Thomas Tuchel. You've also got to ask yourself the question, like, why the hell is Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking this interview? I know he's got every single right to do it as the part owner and the man that's really trumped up the money to put into United to be part owner of the club, but surely he's employing the best in class for a reason, and that's to deal with football matters. So Jim Ratcliffe is not your football man. He's a businessman who knows a bit about football, but not enough to do the day-to-day chores of running a football club. This would be the Todd Bowleys of the world that mess football clubs up by trying to do everything themselves. He doesn't come across as the man to actually do an interview like this. So I find it strange that it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I don't necessarily think that that is the case. Would it not be Wilcox? Would it not be Sir David Brailsford, who apparently is dealing with this sort of thing? Or Jean-Claude Blanc, or anyone like that, for that matter. I just don't see why it would be Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking this interview. It's strange to me that, and something doesn't quite fit there. And do you know what? We'll probably hear more about it, who it was. It might not have even been Sir Jim Ratcliffe. A lot of people are just saying that is what's happened. But yeah, I found that strange as well. And like, it changed very, very quickly. From the words coming out from Christian Folks about the details of the interview to Tuchel taking a break from football, something significant was said that convinced Tuchel he is not the man for Manchester United. And that has now been put to bed. We have to move on from Thomas Tuchel another one off the list. It was McKenna the other week. It's now Tuchel this week. And just when it gets interesting as well. Where is your money right now? I'm going to come to the chat now just to get your thoughts on this in terms of where you think this is going now. What has today's news made you feel? Like, does it make you think that it's now going down the line of Ten Hag staying or one of the other candidates? We're going to get into Pochettino and Zerbi next, but on Tuchel, I want to get into the chat right now. Mark is in the chat. I would think in it is a case of Erik Ten Hag has a year left. Let's see what happens. Ineos can show people that they are trying to do. A Tuchel will come in at the end of the season if Ten Hag fails. That's pretty much like I just said. That is something that I've thought about after reading what's happened today. Another one. David says, Ineos told Tuchel very little money to spend, so he has said can't do anything with that lot. Forget it. Ferguson would reject this lot. Radcliffe is a disaster. Boxing says, we all thought Ten Hag was better than Ten Hag originally. It's true. Surely Erik Ten Hag doesn't feel wanted either, Adam. They've treated him like shite, to be honest. Honestly, Anthony, I haven't got any sympathy for Ten Hag in this. I'm not that type of person. The manager knows the manager's situation. You've taken Manchester United to 8th in the league, deal with the consequences and the rumours and the scrutiny that comes with it. It's your job. Sorry, I don't feel sorry for him at all. All I would say is, in the case of Ten Hag, it's like, let's not drag this on too long. And I think now he's back from holiday, I would put it down to Ineos just waiting to tell him face-to-face if they were going to get rid of him. They've given him a chance. They've made it look like they're doing a proper review. I think that's actually being respectful of Ten Hag because they've looked into all of the details rather than just looking like we would, like we finished 8th in the league. Yeah, we won an FA Cup, but is that not papering over cracks? So I look at Ten Hag's situation and go, I don't feel sorry for him. He knows the situation he's in. He knows who he's managing. And he knows the circumstances that he's in dictates the scrutiny and everything that comes along with it for a poor season, which it has been in all for United, apart from the very end. And Ineos I think they've given respect in doing this review. Now, it shouldn't have gone on as long as it has done. And honestly, I would have said to Ten Hag, look, before you go away, look, we've done this review the week before the final. We've counted in the final whether we won it or whether we lost it, and this is our decision. Personally, I wouldn't have let him sweat on holiday. I would have just dealt with the season there and then. I didn't agree with how long it's taking, but in terms of disrespecting him, I think they've actually given him a chance in letting it run out this way and not jump the gun. Because if it wasn't Ineos in charge right now and it was the old regime, Ten Hag would have been sacked. We know this from what the Glazers have done before. Radcliffe wants to be manager, says Alex. For Howes is left. Don't think none of them are better in my eyes, to be fair. Roddy, I think he's had a pint or two there, Roddy, in the way he said that. But I think his comment was in terms of who's left in the managerial merry-go-round that we can pick from. I wouldn't take any of them. So probably would end up keeping with Ten Hag. Let's see. Lucky Champions League doesn't change the fact that Tuchel is crap. Tuchel isn't crap. He's not. He's won at every team he's been with, so we have to look at that as well, because basically that's what everyone is backing Ten Hag on, the fact that he's won an FA Cup. So why would you change that scope, and why would you change that analysis of a manager just because it's a different name? It doesn't get me when people say that. Tuchel's a failure. Well, so's Ten Hag going off what he's won. Is that not fair? I think that's the balance of it, isn't it? Yeah. So people backing Ten Hag and saying Tuchel's no better, I say, well, yeah, he is, because he's won more. And if you're going to say that Tuchel's a failure, you have to say that Ten Hag is a failure, because he's not won the league. Tuchel has won the league at clubs. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that one, I feel. But, yeah, I want to move on to the other. There's loads to get through as well today, because I want to get onto the Sancho situation as well, which has come out. Like loads of United news on a Sunday. We love it on a Sunday because everyone loves to get involved in the Sunday show. Hello, Raja, and hello to everyone who is in the chat as well. Be respectful, guys. Mickey Mouse would win a PSG and Bayern. I disagree, Gav. I really do. And obviously, he has won at Dortmund as well. And he has been the only one to get PSG to a Champions League final. So, again, I just don't understand how people can say he is no better than Ten Hag. And what has Ten Hag done? That's what I'll counter that with. I don't want to disrespect what Tuchel has done just for the sake of backing Ten Hag, and that's what a lot of people seem to do. Ten Hag won the league. Ten Hag won leagues. So did Tuchel. But he's won the Champions League as well and got to a final of a Champions League. So that's how you're balancing it. And yeah, it's a non-argument for me. It really isn't. I respect everyone's opinions, but come on, you've got to back it with a bit of context as well, because you're really just describing the same manager that we've got right now. So, in terms of what is left for Manchester United, if they didn't want to keep Ten Hag, that's the other side of things. And when you look at the Zerbi factor, that's the name that everyone's coming up with now. So you think about it and what's happened. We know that a football club, or someone has said, there's been a big report on one team buying out the Zerbi's contract at Everton at Brighton to release him from that deal. And everyone thought, you know what, it's gone quiet with De Zerbi. I said it myself. Maybe it is De Zerbi coming up on the blind side who's going to surprise everyone and take this Manchester United job eventually. But then you look at it and you break it down, you're like, we now actively know that Manchester United have been talking to Thomas Tuchel. It's come out and everybody is well clear of it. And you would say then automatically, like, well, if we're talking to Tuchel, surely Manchester United wouldn't have bought out De Zerbi out of his contract. So are we actually in for De Zerbi? Where the hell is De Zerbi going? This is a weird one for me, this, because I can't see him going to United now. I can't. Like, if it's true... And you know what? It might not be true about someone buying De Zerbi out. And in that sense, I can see United still being in for it. But if it does turn out to be true that De Zerbi was bought out, that can't be United. If we're actually talking with Tuchel as well, why would you even buy out De Zerbi unless you really wanted him? It makes no sense at all. So I think what we've got to look at there is the fact that if that news is genuine, then De Zerbi's not coming. If it's made up, and we're probably not going to know if it's made up or if it's just elaborated to a point that De Zerbi has had to buy out his contract or someone else has done it for him, then yeah, like realistically, if it's not true, we have still got a chance of bringing De Zerbi into United. I personally don't feel like De Zerbi's an upgrade on Ten Hag. I don't. I mean, the football might be better, but there's something about him for me, and I've said this all along, and I've stuck to my guns, I just don't see what he brings to Manchester United that's any different right now in taking United through this next 3-year project with Ineos. I just don't see it working. There's something not there with him. A lot of people would disagree with that, I know, like you would with Tuchel against Ten Hag. De Zerbi against Ten Hag, I think he's a fairer playing field. I don't think we're upgrading that much. The managers that are left out there now, I think, are on a similar level to what Ten Hag is. And at this stage, why would you change it? I would only change it for a better manager. And if Ineos do go down the road of getting rid of Ten Hag at this point now, which we're going to find out in the next few days, then I'm shitting it. I am. I'm probably shitting it more than Ten Hag staying right now. I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't think that Ten Hag has done enough to prove he's worth being Manchester United manager. I'm not changing my mind on that. But I am a realist when I look at what else is out there right now, and it just isn't enough for me to convince me that they can take Manchester United to that next level that Ineos are talking about happening. I just don't see it in it at all. Please give the video a like, guys. We're already well over 100, closing in on 150. I'm sure we can get that 300 like mark today, guys. Let's get them likes up, mods. Everybody in the chat right now, please give the video a like. Get subscribing if you are just tuning in, and also make sure you share the video as well. In the description is all our links to everybody that we are partnered with and all of the deals that we've got going on right now, including the shop, the United Couple podcast, the sponsors in Optimally Me, and also SofaScore as well. Get onto all of them, guys. It costs you nothing, and it all helps the channel as well. Into the chat regarding the other options. Here we go. Adam, get him to bring some just for M&A and dye that beard of yours. Why would I want to? Like, I love my greys. I will go grey gracefully. So, no need to worry about that. Careful what you wish for, says Cliff Red. Adam, now Thomas Tuchel is off the list. Who is your first choice to replace Ten Hag? I haven't got one. Unless you go out and get the likes of, like what Jay has been saying, Enrique, or genuine better managers that are out there. I said it before. I was having a conversation with Kaz, like, what would you say and where would you be if we got rid of Ten Hag and Pochettino was announced as Manchester United manager? I have got splinters in my ass that are honestly deep with Pochettino. I've never been able to make my mind up. I'm convinced of him, then I'm not. I think he's got something. I think he'd do good for the youth. I think he plays a decent brand of football. He's done well at Chelsea to handle that mess and get them to where they are at the end of this season. I'm actually thinking that he is a good manager. And then there's the other side of it where he constantly fails and never picks up the trophies that he could get his hands on. He never seems to be able to get over the line. One of them managers again. And that's what I've been describing in Zerbi. So for my own logic, I would say that Pochettino isn't good enough. But a lot of people do like Pochettino. He is very sought after. And it was strange that he left Chelsea. That was like the weirdest one out of all of the managers leaving their posts or something happening. The Pochettino one was very, very strange. I mean, guys, like, Pochettino, is he an upgrade on Ten Hag? Like, honestly, is he? I mean, let me just do a quick poll now, actually, on this one. Who is better? I'm going to just put that there. I'm going to put a few managers in here for you guys. This is what I look at as the clear options now. Tuchel has gone. This poll that I've put up now, if you're watching and catching up later, I've put it down to the 4 options now for United. It's Ten Hag, Zerbi, Poch or Southgate. What's better? It's a simple question. Just pick your manager and let me know what you think. Poch is limited, not a winner. We have a trophy-winning manager, amazing with such a poor squad, in my opinion. Well, everyone's saying when everyone's fit, Cliff, that we have got a title challenging squad. Again, no, I don't think he has done well with the squad that he's had. I do think that Ten Hag has got limitations, and he isn't a winning manager. He's won 2 cups, yes, but I don't class that as what winning is in terms of what Ineos want and what my standards are. My standards may be different to other people's, that's fair. But what I judge a manager on is continuously staying in that top 4 while challenging for the Premier League. People will say, look, we're never going to get there. Like, you've got to lower your expectations. But no, my expectations are there as a United fan. That's where they've always been. We spend as much as anybody, so why are we not able to make the most out of that amount of money spent? I'm looking at it now going, if we spend the same amount of money that we have spent over the last 10 years under Ineos, I'd expect titles to be coming through to Manchester United because the recruitment side of things looks better, the structure looks better, and the investment will be sensible investment instead of buying players for the sake of selling shirts, for the commercialisation of players, for things like that. I think United will be buying players for footballing reasons and nothing else. So if you spent, let's say, $500 million with Ineos, I expect Manchester United, and this is over a certain amount of years, by the time that money's been spent, I'd expect United to be challenging for the Champions League and the Premier League. That's how I see it, because if you're putting people in position at the football club that are going to be fully invested into the football side of things and winning is priority, then that is the recipe that we need, not wasted money. That's Manchester United have done, and that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. And we'll talk about Jadon Sancho again in a minute, but let's get more into the chat with you guys regarding these other managers. Trevor says, Pochettino has won nothing major with big players. With United, he would get us relegated. Straight in at the deep end with that one. Pochettino should not have been sacked by Chelsea. Let's get him in. 2 ends of the scale right there. Like, it's so opinionated right now, and no one is going to be happy with this Not everybody's going to be happy with this next decision that comes in from Manchester United. It's going to be impossible to please absolutely everybody. We have a super chat in from Neil Crowd. Says, we'll back Eric now. Tuchel off list. No Southgate. I think a lot of people are looking at that as the realistic outcome right now, that Ten Hag stays. That's how I see it. Anyway, the way it's going, like, some people have actually said that it's now looking more likely and quite clear that Ten Hag is going to be sacked. It's like, we've just said no to Tuchel, and the rest, honestly, it's not so much a downgrade, but we're not moving anywhere. We're not moving anywhere with the managers that we're looking at. I just don't see it. I'm not. So try and convince me, please. Let's get into a few more of your chats. I've got some new members coming in. I'll get through them in a minute. Quick one. Super chat from Mark Lambridge. Thanks for that, Mark. It's hard to explain to people that managers at small clubs can look a lot better because they have players who want to do well and go to big clubs. It's not difficult, mate. People just choose to ignore it, Mark, more than anything. New members in the house that were gifted by Modern Samurai are Maradona. Woof. What a legend. Adamske, Ed Barrett, Wayne Shevlin, and Michael as well. Thank you, guys. Make sure you do get in the chat and give a big thank you to Modern Samurai. Come on, guys. We're on target for that 300 like mark. We're almost at the 200 mark now. Please give the video a like. Subscribe. Make sure that you're sharing the video and getting involved, guys. Get in the chat right now. This is your chance to have your say and get your point across to me. Gray says, Adam, we didn't say no to Thomas Tuchel. He said no to us, if you believe the news. This is the thing, you can look at it both ways, Gray. Like, he basically, I know what he's saying. It just looks to me like we didn't make it clear to Tuchel that we wanted him. We didn't do enough. And in my eyes, like, if you really wanted someone and you were convinced by him, you would make sure that he knew you were really interested in him. It's just a little cop-out way of saying that we don't want you, in my opinion. For him to go on sabbatical and not manage anyone this season, then he must have had the proper cold shoulder from United in that meeting. Like, whoever it was from Ineos, even if it wasn't Sir Jim, I mean, for him to go away and just say, like, no, that's it, I'm having a year out, he must have got a real cold shoulder situation going on there. Tuchel was the main reason that PSG lost the only league in 8 years as well, and Tuchel was the main reason that they got to their only Champions League final in that time as well. You can counteract each one. You can run your own agendas through different stats all of the time just because you don't like someone, because you prefer another manager, but please don't disrespect what they have done by bringing up needless negatives as well. Let's make sure that it is balanced. I've given positives and negatives for Ten Hag. I balanced it completely out. I think there are good things that Ten Hag has done. But what I look at is how Ineos are going to run Manchester United right now is they are taking control of everything good that Ten Hag has done at this football club. They're going to take over the youth system. They're going to take over the recruitment. They're going to take over player issues and player contracts and everything like that. And all Ten Hag is going to have to do at United under Ineos is coach a brand of football that they want. And this is why Ineos are looking at other managers, because they're still not convinced. They're clearly not convinced by Ten Hag, but it now looks like they're not fully convinced by other candidates that have come to the table as well. And they are doing a proper, thorough search, analysis-based process of these managers to make sure that they do not make a mistake at this stage. Ultimately, I think everything that they're doing is just going to go down to the road and say, look, you cannot pick out a Pep Guardiola, a Jurgen Klopp, an Ancelotti out of this crop of managers that are there. The best that there is are going to be unavailable to come into United. So what can you create with the managers that are available right now? And included in that is Ten Hag. That's what we are looking at. Like, the reality is there isn't anyone of the calibre of manager that's going to take United straight to the top. We have to create and build something with a manager and the squad together and grow going forward. It's just difficult because of what we've just witnessed, the player situations we've got going on off the pitch, and everything else that's involved in this absolute shit show right now. And I can understand at times, like, I get angry with everyone else, like, why this is taking so long. But when you look at it and you break it all down, you can actually understand why it is actually taking so long. They don't want to make a wrong decision in this, but I think it is coming to a head. Like I said, the final act is this week. It has to be this week because Ten Hag is back. He's officially back from his holiday, and if there's one man that's going to force an answer out of Ineos, it's definitely the current manager at Manchester United. If truly Jim Ratcliffe made the interview and made Tuchel feel not really wanted, they are amateurs at Ineos, says Radona. Mark says, I think we now need to focus on transfers and the new ground plans. Eric Ten Hag is here to stay now unless a rabbit is pulled out of the hat in a top manager. And there brings up the debate again. Like, people actually think that Zerbi is a top manager and will take United forward. So, like, what do you class as a top manager? I think that's the question now as well. Sounds like Ten Hag will be on a short leash and Tuchel to be appointed if necessary. There is that to it, isn't there? That we've said that a couple of times already right now. And you have to think there is something in that. The fact that they've spoken to Tuchel and he's gone away and he's going to take a break, you could easily see Tuchel walking into Manchester United at some point in the next year if things don't go right. But that for me then just says that they're not fully backing Ten Hag. And what's the point? What's the point if you're making this big statement? You're going to, next 3 years, take United back to the top, and you've got a manager in for the first year of it that you're not fully convinced in, that you don't want to fully get behind. If Ten Hag is the man for Manchester United, like I said, there needs to be a new contract on the table. It has to be. I think everything will be taken away from him. I think it will be restructured completely. And it will be mainly coaching duties and getting results on the pitch with the players that Ineos give him. That has to be how it goes forward. If you're not going to get behind him, what is the point? What is the point? I've always said it, one way or the other, it's a back him or sack him scenario for me. And backing him means giving him a new deal. Otherwise, you're going to get the other side of it, which is what I want to talk about now. Like, how do you feel like Ten Hag is looking at this situation? I've said it before, I think he's bricking it right now. But I feel like Ten Hag is looking at this going, well, they are clearly looking at other managers. He knows this. So where is his head? Does he think, like, do you know what? F you. I'll make the decision for you. I'm going. I will be better wanted elsewhere. In his mind, he might be thinking that right now with the situation that's going on. And I know there'll be plenty of people that actually agree with him on that as well. I personally don't. I think Ten Hag knows the situation he's in, and he knows he's managing at Manchester United. If a club are not looking at other managers after the season we've had, I think that would be where you would be worried as a fan. You have to be looking at a plan B with what you've just finished, after what you've just finished with. There has to be. Otherwise, you're not doing your job properly and how you're running the football club. It's as simple as that. And you may think that's disrespectful, but it's really not. That's the way that football works. There always has to be another option, and you always have to be prepared for the worst as well. So, yeah, if Ten Hag thinks that that's bad, I don't think he will. I think he's strong-minded. I think he's stubborn. I think he is determined. I don't think he's bothered about Manchester United looking at other managers. He just wants to know if he's got the job, and he wants to know what commitment he's going to get from Ineos with the meetings he is probably going to have this week at Carrington. Now he's back off holiday. That I feel, I'm pretty confident saying that is quite realistic when you look at it. This channel needs to give coverage to the MUFC women's team. It's more successful. I don't know. They've had a shocker of a season as well, apart from the FA Cups. So, yeah, both teams dropping off and salvaging seasons with FA Cup wins. It's likely at this point that Ten Hag will just stay. I actually don't see Southgate arriving, thank God, after the Euros, because I think he still wants a shot at the World Cup in 2026. Good for United, bad for England, I would say, on that side of things, Leo. But, yeah, I can see where you're going with it. The poll says it all, Adam. We choose Erik Ten Hag for another year. No, Gav, forget the one more year crap. Cannot happen. Even you guys saying you back Ten Hag, you just want to give him another year. You're not backing him. Get behind him and say that he wants a 3-year contract if you want to get behind the manager. You saying give him another year is worse than getting rid of him because it's no commitment. You cannot work like that in football. So everyone who says that another year for Ten Hag, let's see how he does. No, it's worse than not getting rid of him. Honestly, for me, I don't get people who look at that like another year. Like, where is Ten Hag's commitment to knowing that he's only got one more year and he doesn't know what's going to happen? Ten Hag goes into Carrington this week and he says, new deal on the table now. If he's bigging himself up for winning 2 trophies and you all think it's fantastic that he's got 2 trophies and he is this winning manager, he needs to go into Carrington and he needs to lay it out and say, look, I'm happy to stay. I want my new contract now. I'm into the last year of my deal. What's happening after this season? Because the players that I'm going to be involved in and the system I'm going to be building and the style that you want to play, I will be bringing in players alongside Ineos and working with younger players that are going to prosper this football club past this season and season on. And if I'm not going to be involved in that, then what is the point of me even being here? What manager in their right mind is just going to play out one more season at Manchester United? The only man that I've known do that is the powerhouse, which was Sir Alex Ferguson, because he knew that they weren't going to get rid of him because of what he'd won before. That rolling contract that he constantly had was just because he was the best at what he is and what he does. No one has come anywhere near him. And Ten Hag, for what he's done, if you think he's done good, then you should be backing this idea that Ten Hag goes into Ineos and says, give me a 3-year contract. If you think he's only worth 1 more year, then you're telling yourself that you don't back Ten Hag either. You don't. Because this is the man that's supposed to take United forward. We're talking about a 3-year plan right now. And if you don't think that he's worth more than 1 more year, then you are essentially saying he's not good enough. So what's the point? 3-year contract, restructured, new deal, whichever way you want to do it, and then we all have to deal with it. And we will be scrutinising Ten Hag through the next season. There will be bad games again, like we know there will be. And there'll probably be some good games. Will Ten Hag work with a new structure? It is the complete unknown, just like any other manager coming in is the complete unknown at Manchester United. If Ineos don't trust Ten Hag now, next season is a write-off. I agree, back him or sack him, but United do this every time. Never back a manager, say there is no money, and do terrible things like Igalo. Well, we know that that's not going to happen now, Cliff, with the new structure coming in. I'm sure his compo will ease his pain. It will. It'll be quite substantial if he does go. They don't give new contracts. They can end it for free, end of season. Again, Mike, then why is Ten Hag bothering? Yes, people are just not understanding. Like, he's not going to be fully committed, and it's a waste of time him being at United for 1 more year. What is he building? A manager wants to build things and have longevity at a football club. He's not going to just accept that he's going to be there for 1 more year. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. If he agrees to that, then I've lost all credit for him completely. Do you know what? I've got my issues with Ten Hag. You all know that. But if he goes in and accepts a 1-year deal at Ineos right now, everyone would come to me and say, well, Adam, you've got to be happy. At least he's gone in another year. No, I'm not happy with that. I want him to come in and actually want to be this project. I'm talking now, this is the first season under Ineos and first pre-season. This is the end of Manchester United if Ineos does not work. There's nothing else or nowhere else for us to go unless someone else comes in and buys the club out. I can't see that happening. I don't think anyone else can in the next 10 years at least. Well, half the Glazers are still living anyway. So they need to make this work. And if Ten Hag isn't fully committed to it, and by that I mean he needs a new deal, then I'll lose it for him as well. So, yeah, it's it's a strong opinion. I know it is, but I think that's realistic. I do. I'm stick to that. Please do not say give Ten Hag a 3-year contract out loud again. My nerves cannot handle it, says Mike. one way or the other, this is what's going to happen. I'm not convinced like everybody else about the other people that are involved right now. I can see the positives in Pochettino. I can see the positives in Zerbi, like we've said. And you've also got to look at the negatives of them managers as well. They're very, very similar level to what we've already got. I think Ineos will look at it and just go, you know what? It's a case of, well, who can we work with easier right now? Like, there's no one else out there, I don't think, that's drastically better than Ten Hag. Like, but who works best for Ineos? That's what we got to look at. And yeah, it's the way it is. Like, it's the way it is. For people who actually look at this situation and think it's an actual competition, like, let go, guys. It's sad. It's not Ten Hag in. It's not Ten Hag out. It's not whatever happens, you are the winner. It's for the better of Manchester United. We all have different opinions. So anyone who's being abusive or slagging other people off because of their opinion about Ten Hag, then just go and give yourself a little look in the mirror. This is what it is. We all want the same thing. We all just have different opinions. That's what football debate is about. So if Ten Hag stays, no one's going to be jumping around saying, we won. This is what we wanted. This is everything. This is brilliant for the club. Everyone's just going to say, what's next? We want to know what's happening next. Some people just don't believe in what Ten Hag is doing on the pitch. And that's fine. I don't believe I've seen enough progression in Ten Hag for me to fully back him. So, yeah, it's not about who wins this debate, Ten Hag inners or Ten Hag outers. It's where the Manchester United go from here. That's the big thing, and that's the important thing. Ten Hag has gone. Trust me, says Saeed. You don't keep a manager if you're interviewing several managers. I'd walk if I was Ten Hag. We discussed that, and I understand that opinion. I just don't see Ten Hag, personally, being bothered about interviewing other managers. And if Tuchel's gone, that was the one that I was convinced was going to be the clincher in all of this. Now he's gone. I'm second-guessing everything right now in terms of how I think Manchester United are looking at this. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. It's too weird. It's strange. But I pray for the day when they just give us clarity and everything is sorted and we know where we're going. Because that's all I care about right now. I just want to get to the bottom of it. I want the decision. Whichever way it is, just give us the decision so we can deal with it and get on with supporting the team. And then we want to look at the players that are coming in, because that's more important as well. Who is going to be in that Manchester United lineup next season? I feel Erik Ten Hag has the power now. Thomas Tuchel said no to Sir Jim. He said no. United said no to Wim. That's a debate on its own at the moment amongst the chats. Make sure you do subscribe, guys, so you can get involved in the chat as well. Exactly, Adam. I want Erik Ten Hag to stay, but if they get rid of him, fine. Ineos better get an upgrade. I still think it's 50-50. It could go either way. It really could go either way. Other news coming in, and something that I thought actually backed Ten Hag up, was the news on Jadon Sancho. Manchester United are definitely getting rid of Jadon Sancho. It does not matter who is in the dugout, it has been said. But Jadon Sancho's price tag has been officially set at 40 million. They won't take anything less than that. They want him gone this summer. Good luck with that and convincing anyone to buy Jadon Sancho. I think 40 million is fair for his age and what people know he can do. Hopefully they look at the Dortmund Jadon Sancho and not the Manchester United Jadon Sancho. So, yeah, realistically, Jadon Sancho has been a big pain in the ass for Erik Ten Hag. And if he is definitely leaving Manchester United, because we heard about that interview before and how Thomas Tuchel can salvage Jadon Sancho. Christian Foltz was talking about that, actually, from that interview, about how he could salvage Jadon Sancho and make the most out of him, and the troubled players that there have been at United and what he can do to bring them back. And some would have thought that might have convinced Ineos, because it would mean not spending as much money. But I don't know. Something has gone wrong in there with Tuchel and the Ineos interview, and they probably weren't convinced, or Tuchel wasn't convinced with where they were going. And it's just all come to a head, and he's just going to take some time out. But Jadon Sancho being sold, that works for Ten Hag. So obviously anyone who is looking at the Ten Hag side of things, we'll look at the Jadon Sancho situation, the club's stance on that, and go, well, if they're getting rid of Jadon Sancho, that's definitely a feather in Ten Hag's hat as well. Okay, so how screwed will we be if Erik Ten Hag walks and we have no manager to start pre-season? I think pre-season looks doomed, the start of it right now, Mark, already. I do. We're going to have no squad because everyone's going to be returning late from leading international duty. The players that we have got are the ones that we really don't want to be in pre-season and training for a new season. And yeah, I think the manager situation isn't helping anything, but honestly, I don't think it's going to impact too much on the disastrous start what pre-season will be. But then again, I do think we will have a manager situation. The manager situation sorted. We will have a manager in the hot seat by the time pre-season comes around. I'm just glad that they've stuck to the guns and not listened to the possibility or the thought that Jadon Sancho can be brought back to Manchester United and everything can be fixed. I'm happy that is the situation with him. Jadon Sancho can just, you know what, let's just sell him and let's use that money. We've talked up about a lot of players recently that Manchester United are looking into, that money from Jadon Sancho would go towards, and for the better of the football club. Because Jadon Sancho going is no loss. Mason Greenwood going is no loss. They contribute nothing to Manchester United's season. So we're not losing out there. It's just gaining, really, on the situation for Ineos. They didn't buy him. They won't be worried about what was spent. They're dealing with a situation from now going forward. So Jadon gone, money in the bank. United reinvest that money. Let's move forward. And I think it will be a better United team without that type of character, personally. If it has caused as much trouble as what has been reported from the club, then it's definitely the right move to get rid. Almost at the 300 like mark, guys. You have almost made it. What we need in there, 28 more likes to hit the 300 mark. Get on it, people. Let's see if we can hit that 300 before we finish. And coming back into your comments again. So it's okay that Erik Ten Hag lead us to 8th and out of the Champions League before Christmas from an easy group. Never mind all the other poor stats. Both of those are sackable offences, project or not. The fors and against for Ten Hag are big on each side, but I think the against are definitely bigger. You all know that's my opinion on him. I'm not going to change it. And I cannot forget the crap football that I've watched this season. Week in, week out, it has been shit. There's been the odd moment where we've turned up for big games. That's not Manchester United. Can Ten Hag get more out of this squad? I do not know. I talked on the paper on this morning how he needs to learn from issues that he's had this season and going forward, but it all comes down to nothing, really, because Ineos will make their mind up regardless of fan opinion, regardless of the whole petition side for Ten Hag to stay and all of that. It doesn't matter what fans think when it comes to Ineos. They go off their own instincts, their own opinions, and we will just have to deal with what decision comes from it. And right now, honestly, I'm stuck. I'm up in the air with what is actually going to happen. I have no idea. It's a weird one right now. It's a weird one. I understand people saying, look, we're not talking to other managers unless it's changing. The fact that news has come out and it's been made official that we have been talking to managers has convinced a lot of fans that Ten Hag is going. I still look at it and go, with no Tuchel now, how do you have a manager's better? It comes down to the same thing every single bleeding time, doesn't it? Are the others better that are out there right now? And I'm not fully convinced. I'm not. What else have we got? Zerbi, good football. Nothing else is in his name. Adam, your football ability, knowledge and logic is lacking. Thanks for that, Alex. I don't know why you would give that opinion. I thought I broke it down quite well for you there, my friend. But hey, you're open to disagree. That's what football debate is about. Glazers are City fans, says Alex. I don't know about that one, but I don't care what the Glazers are. I just want them gone. Kerry says, glad you weren't watching in the early 70s if you don't like crap football. it's one thing actually playing crap football, but playing crap football, having invested so much and it not changing year after year after year, I think that's even worse. I think it eclipses everything else. Like, what are we doing? How have we got into this position? The other managers out there, like Poch and Southgate, like we just discussed there, like Southgate, like wide berth, massive wide berth. And I just look at Pochettino again. I'm struggling with it. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to make my mind up. Pochettino is going to be one of the managers that I can judge when I've seen him actually in at United for a number of years. Like even after a couple of seasons like Ten Hag's had, I think that's the only way I'm going to know. It's always looked at like Pochettino as the perfect setup for Manchester United, with what he does with the younger players, with the style of football, everything like that, the structure above him that's going to suit him, that he understands what it's all about. I just feel like that's Pochettino, but I need to see him in at United before I can actually judge him, if that makes sense. But yeah, we're going to know, and it's all going to come to a head this week, guys. So I think all the debate is going to end and we can finally move forward. Hopefully it's tomorrow. I don't know. The one thing that I'm watching tomorrow is that bleeding court case between City and the Premier League. That's all I'm interested in tomorrow, because that affects absolutely everything. And it's going to change the face of football. It is. But guys, that pretty much is the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have had plenty of likes. We need 2 more for 300, and I'm sure there's one. I'm sure we're going to get 1 more before we finish up, and we're going to make that mark. Excellent effort from all of you guys again. Thank you for joining me. Loads of you have had your opinions. Some disagreed, some not. That's what it's about on FUTV. Everyone is welcome, even if you want to come and slag us off. The poll, let's finish that up. Who is better, Ten Hag, Zerbi, Poch, or Southgate? Believe it or not, there was 6% of people actually thought Southgate. Like, sabotaging the vote. They cannot be Man United fans. Ten Hag wins it with 73% over De Zerbi 11, Poch 9. Southgate went down to 5 actually just as we finished. It's not that much better, but still, I think people have seen sense with that. Have a good evening, guys. The week is about to commence. Actually, there's just one more quote from Tuchel. Tuchel spoke of how he would address United's various issues last Tuesday. It was Radcliffe, and disclosed how he would go about returning Jadon Sancho and Mason Mount, whom he worked with at Stamford Bridge, back to form. Yeah, I think we knew he would, like any manager, would big himself up with the playing staff that's already there and what he could bring out of them. Was it Tuchel that wasn't convinced, or was it United that weren't convinced? We will never know, but we will know who is going to be the manager by the end of this week coming. Super chat right at the end from Modern Samurai. Everyone have a great Sunday. You too, my friend. Have a fantastic one, and I will see you all tomorrow, unless something breaks tonight. God forbid. All right, let's just have a night's sleep, please. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always. Great show, great content, and great opinions. Not all of them, but most.